Ladies and gentlemen, we have a really important video about AMC. Lots of details to discuss, especially with their cash balances, the current price targets, where we're sitting with AMC right now, what could be happening in the next month, and what everybody's been asking about, is there a potential for a short squeeze? Now, talking about AMC, many things have happened. We recently have had the severe dilution that has really been an inconvenience to the shareholders, especially in terms of the stock valuation going down over like 80% in just the previous, previous history. Now, talking about AMC, those 40 million shares, remember that were going to be announced to be sold, those have actually been fully executed, and those sold at actually on the uprising, not in the $7, but sold at $8.14 per share, and that raised about $325 million for AMC. The CEO, Adam Aron, had some important things to say. We're going to be covering that, taking a look at some of the options, and also talking about the Taylor Swift tour that could bring in groundbreaking record revenues to AMC theaters. Now, if you're new to the channel, I make daily videos on just updating you guys on what's happening within these stocks. Hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and watch the whole thing. I really do appreciate it, you supporting a smaller content creator. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor, so take everything I say with a grain of salt and do your own research. Now, AMC, like I said, we're seeing immense trading volumes looking good. Now, especially like I said, with those 40 million shares that have been executed to actually be sold, that has been said and done, and this is where we're sitting at with the current price. So great to kind of put that kind of behind our backs and continue on with the future momentum with what's going to be happening with AMC. Now, sitting at this price right here, you can see it went to about 9, 10, and kind of found some consolidation support closing at that 8.14. Volumes are looking very high at 46 million right now, market cap at about 1.3 billion. Now, if we talk about AMC, especially looking into the actual options, not into the September 29th, basically 2 weeks from now, those expirations, we're seeing immense call volumes at around that $11 strike price. Compared to the puts right there, we see 19,000 basically in the volume just for the $11 strike price, and many thousands here over the $8. So many people here are predicting AMC to go on a decent run up here in the near future compared to the bears. Now, talking about AMC and especially what has happened is that they have been able to raise $325 million in their stock, and that's ahead of the Taylor Swift film. Now, talking about that, like I said, that sale of the 40 million shares that was able to address those cash concerns, especially as they were trying to get out of this liquidity crisis that they've had, working on refinancing some of their loans, paying off some of their debts, working on their lease obligations. This is what this 325 million is for. So this has basically bolstered what Adam Aron here says, our ability to survive and then thrive. It's great to hear coming from the CEO, basically saying that, hey, now we've sold these 40 million shares, we have tons of money on hand now, so let's be able to look on into the future. And of course, this was an unpopular opinion with the shareholders and which are loyal shareholders that have been with the stock for many years now. That's plunged over 80%. So now AMC is that in position to really benefit from an industry recovery, and Aron is agreeing with us right here, saying that it is in a position to benefit from an industry recovery and expecting to get a particular boost from sharing the Taylor Swift concert in October. Now, talking about that, and especially with the difficulties that we've seen with the Hollywood strikes of writers and actors, we've had people that have been criticizing, being skeptical about how movies are really going to play a part in our future in terms of a business, in terms of the actual way that they're in the fundamentals of actually how they're written, especially with a lot of people going on strike. But remember, what was interesting about the Taylor Swift is that they basically signed with the Taylor Swift an exclusive partnership with AMC Entertainment to release the Eras Tour exclusively for AMC theaters starting on October 13th, and that is just in a month right here. And he did basically said that the Swift family did something unheard of by basically cutting Hollywood out of that deal and distributing the film directly to the theaters, as they fully funded 100% of that movie roughly 10 to 20 million and receive 57% of the gross revenue for the film. So basically, this Eras tour is projected to gross 2.2 billion in North America ticket sales and generate 5 billion in consumer spending. Now, looking at AMC, and especially with the fundamentals of the companies, they really are in a great shape since the pandemic. I would agree with the Street article right here by basically saying with those losses to heavy dilution, being able to get some of that cash, we're seeing those second quarter earnings. They showed revenue increasing 16% year over year. And also you're seeing these other metrics that are continuing to be in the positive. And on top of that, actually for the domestic box office, for the movies that you have had in 2023, have been bringing a ton of revenue. And he basically, Adam Aaron, he commented on the second quarter earnings call that management is very optimistic for the following years. We're talking about 2024, 2025, thanks to the second quarter and third quarter results, basically expecting that the company should reach these pre-pandemic revenue levels again. And that's a great and a bullish statement to make, especially from a company in the beginning of the year that analysts were predicting is going to be facing bankruptcy. So quite a turnaround that we have seen, especially from analysts that are starting to raise their price targets. We've even seen some very high price targets of some analysts raising it nearly up to $45. Now, right now where it is, especially with the revenue that could come in, that does seem like a long shot, a milestone ahead. But is it unrealistic, especially if it's a highly shorted stock and shorts need to cover, and you get this pressure that comes in from retail investors, from institutional investors, from people that are realizing, hey, maybe AMC does have a chance. Could there be a potential for that short squeeze? Now, one great thing to talk about is the domestic box office, like I said, for 2023 has been very successful. We've seen the Barbie movie has grossed $620 million. Oppenheimer, when these movies basically came out together, has grossed nearly $1 billion. So the fact that Barbie and them have actually grossed this amount of money does give you projections for how big the Taylor Swift movie really could bring revenue-wise to AMC. And especially with this partnership, the impact is that this could have on AMC, especially it could be a game changer. So with the innovations from basically working on these retail sales, they've already smashed the record pre-ticket sales for this movie. I think basically the Swifties really could come in and leave a large effect on AMC. Now, the question is, especially where analysts do rate this price right now, is interesting to see where it is. Like I said, at the highs, the Webull saying here at about $40, but we see it at 45, an average of $15.80. So where AMC sits right now, I think is at an interesting spot. Remember that before, if we look at the actual reverse split adjusted price ratios, before we had that 1-for-10 reverse stock split is what I'm saying here. When you had 10 shares and now you have one, AMC is technically at 81 cents. So the fact that AMC is really at these record lows, we have great cash liquidity that has came to AMC. The 40 million shares have actually been sold, and now we're at this point where we're sitting at 814. Options volatility is looking good, and we still have a whole another month until we have the Taylor Swift, likely could be the biggest movie that's coming exclusively to AMC. There's lots of things that are lining up, and the stars are really starting to align. Now, of course, yes, we can say bullish things all day. We can say things are always going to go up, 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 up. Things can always come back down, of course. The movie could not do as good and things like that. So make sure you do understand that. The AMC is a very speculative play. And especially right now, they've really had to do a lot that was losing or a loss to their shareholders in order to survive. So is this AMC's final chance? It basically could be. If all these metrics that it's done to really kind of botch and take down the valuations in its stock price, if this does not work, then AMC could be facing bankruptcy again. It does have about $9.5 billion in combined debt and lease obligations. That's a lot of money, and a lot of that does not have a maturity for a few years at least, so there's time to work on it, but especially maturity dates for a lot of that money is around 2026. Time is of an essence. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, especially with AMC making those business decisions. But one thing is for sure, we'll be keeping you guys updated, making sure that you do get all the information that you need and really trying to learn. I think a potential short squeeze if lots of pressure comes in and it's still a highly shorted stock. Now there could be more on the table. But that's only going to come with time, and especially with how do institutional investors view AMC. We do see institutional investors that have been backing out. So how is this going to react, especially if it's being more retail dominantly traded? Now, back in the hands of the shareholders, of the more loyal fans, AMC, we'll see what happens at the time. But other than that, take care. Peace out. It's an interesting stock, and that's why I love following it for you guys. So take care. Peace out, and I will catch you guys later.